we identify information that's valuable to you in your clinic, we can bring that to you on a proactive manner rather than being more reactive.
Welcome to the Swine Health Blackbelt Podcast, the latest swine health research digested for you. My name is Dr. Clayton Johnson. I'm the host of the podcast. Joining me this week is Dr. Nick Lauterbach. Dr. Lauterbach is a technical services veterinarian for Farmgate Animal Health. Nick, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. You and I have had the pleasure of knowing each other for several years, but for those that maybe haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah. Hey, Clayton. Thanks for having me. I'm Nick Lauterbach. I'm a 2018 graduate of Iowa State University. After graduation, I went to work for Smithfield Foods in the Midwest Division, based out of Algona, where I was the veterinarian for them for 4.5 years. Oversaw about 120,000 sows in 4 different states, and then the weaned to finished production, predominantly located in Iowa. In October of last year, I joined Farmgate Animal Health in a tech service role. And so I've been with them for a little over a year now, working to support producers and veterinarians with our extensive product portfolio with in-feed, injectable, water-soluble antibiotics, as well as swine vaccines.
Salmonella presents significant challenges to pig health and performance and poses food safety risks to humans. As the first and only vaccine offering live attenuated strains of both Salmonella cholerae and Typhimurium, Enterosol Salmonella TC from Boehringer Ingelheim protects pigs against both serotypes with a single oral dose. Talk to your Boehringer Ingelheim representative to learn more.
Well, Nick, we'll give a little teaser to the audience. We're going to do a podcast today that talks about a case that we're going to do another podcast with a veterinarian here later on. But you were actively involved in the case. You leveraged your experiences as a practicing veterinarian. As you said, you spent a lot of time in the field solving problems on pig farms. You leveraged that experience. You supported the veterinarian who was actively having a problem. Talk to us about that experience a little bit, right? We as pig vets always struggle with not enough resources to solve our problems. How are you able to help in this situation? And, how can somebody with your experience, your perspective, help pig veterinarians and producers in general?
Yep. Yeah. So the project I did with Dr. Brent Sexton around using Avlicin, which is a second generation macrolide that's offered by Farmgate. Like you mentioned, he'll get into the details of that project at a different podcast. But so collaboration in my role, in my previous role, was not something that was ever new to me. I was never shy about picking up a phone and asking somebody about how are they approaching this problem, or what solutions are they seeing, and different things like that. And so as I've adjusted to this new role, I think that's something that I've really appreciated and come to enjoy is the opportunity to be a resource for people. And so having to, relying on not only, you mentioned my experiences in barn in my previous role, but also now the ability to get out and interact with a lot of different producers, veterinarians, be in systems, work with clinics, different things like that. And so that's one thing that I think is really valuable about, what I would call myself as an industry veterinarian now, is just that ability to see a wide scope of the industry. We have resources and individuals that we can collaborate with across the globe that can bring a lot of different experiences and just information to producers and veterinarians to help them bring scientific solutions to real world problems that they're having, right?
Nick, what's a good relationship with a veterinarian and their production system, or the producers they work with? What's a good relationship look like from your perspective? Said another way, how can a veterinarian extract the most value out of that Nick Lauterbach relationship they have with a tech services vet?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question in this role, if you ever have a question or specific to the portfolio of products that we offer at Farmgate, we'll obviously are happy to answer any and all questions and step in however we can on that role. But really, our biggest role, or what I see the most value being added from a technical service standpoint, is being able to understand your clinic, your system, and what your major goals, what you're working towards are, right? If I understand, we'll take Brent's, Dr. Sexton's example. We sat down for a meeting, and he was kind of going over that, we're working on some mycoplasma elimination things, and at that point we were just having a conversation about my previous experience with mycoplasma eliminations in my old career, and then it kind of progressed to, hey, this is kind of the problem I'm looking at. We have this mycoplasma elimination ongoing with the PRRS elimination, and what's a way that we can approach that? And that's where we kind of went down the path of, can we utilize a water-soluble antibiotic in place of an injectable to reduce that risk of recirculating that low prevalence PRRS? And that's where the idea to utilize Abelson really kind of came in. And so having that understanding of what their system was working towards, what's important to you and your producers, that allows us to kind of, as we're out traveling, as we're going to different conferences, as we're meeting with different people, things that, a veterinarian that's in barns predominantly is maybe not afforded the opportunity to do so as much. We can then, if we identify information that's valuable to you in your clinic, we can bring that to you on a proactive manner rather than being more reactive.
Yeah. One of the things, Nick, I think people may not appreciate, and one of the things I enjoy about working with Farmgate is you're an international company. And the reality is diseases are maybe slightly different in some other countries, but for the most part, we all deal with the same pathogens, right? Mycoplasma pneumoniae is a problem all over the world. You can sometimes bring not just perspective maybe from a producer that's down the road from, that veterinarian or something, but maybe from another country where they have the regulatory ability to do things differently than we do. People probably don't understand that in a lot of other countries, you can use feed medications off label. And we can't do that here in the US, but we can use water medications off label. So you can apply maybe some of the same principles with the molecules. You got to get creative on how to do that within the regulatory framework. But you might share a little bit that perspective is not just from the US. You can bring an international perspective.
Yeah, so we have a great collaboration with a company called Eco Animal Health that's based over in the United Kingdom, and so we have a lot of colleagues and people that we work with overseas in Europe as well. And so you're exactly right. And part of my role as technical service veterinarian is I'm actually provide support to Canadian producers and veterinarians as well. And so that's been a really interesting dynamic where you're exactly right. The flexibility that some of those countries have is different than what we're allowed to do, and vice versa, right? And so I think that's a unique part of Farmgate Animal Health specifically, is we are a relatively small company, but we have an extensive knowledge of a lot of different phases of production within our company. And we see a lot of different, we interact and work with a lot of different producers and systems that we can bring a lot of experience, right? I know we've spent a lot of, we have a lot of just that collaboration, and that perspective is a great word for it, of how do we bring value and how do we continue to advance our industry in a scientific manner in ways that make sense, right? That's one thing I really appreciate about our career and our group of veterinarians, is we're always looking for ways to make things better. We're always looking for ways to push things forward on a scientific basis. And that's really what I hope to be able to help people with, and veterinarians and producers, and just continue to bring solutions to those problems that you may be having.
Curious to discover if you can manage your animal data and teams work with the touch of a finger? Some of the best and largest pig farm holdings worldwide use cloud farms to collect and analyze data like never before. How? With the most advanced mobile app to collect data accurately and super fast. For breeding, farrowing, weaning, and finishing. Also, this is the easiest way to assign tasks to your team and motivate to work more efficiently. You instantly understand what gets done on time and what doesn't. So yes, you can manage your animal data with the touch of a finger.
Tremendous, Nick. Couldn't have said it better myself. Really want to thank you for coming on to the show. To our audience, thank you for listening to the Swine Health Blackbelt Podcast. Please check out our website at swinehealthblackbelt.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out on our next great episode with Dr. Sexton. For Dr. Nick Lauterbach, I'm Dr. Clayton Johnson. Have a great rest of your week.
Hey, everybody. We're always searching for the latest and greatest research to share each week. If you have a swine health-related research trial and would like to come on the show and talk about it, share it with us, please feel free to email the research to hello@wisenetics.com. That's HELLO@WISENETIX.com.